Sports Radio Irwin, Real Sports Talk, a Jet Broadcasting station.
So I got my convertible fixed, put new latches on it, and they got the toughest latch in the world to put back on. Anyway, but I'm able to drive with my top down, and so what that means is I come into work and I start putting on the old Facebook Live for us to broadcast and archive our show on here. The name of the program is Tri-City Sports Now, of course. Folks, if Martin Van Buren is now what my hair looks like, okay, yes, I mean, this is, got the comb out here, you want to see on Facebook, here, a man combing his hair on the radio, that'll be just great for the people in the cars right now and all that. Hey, I'm Marky Billson, your voice of choice for a new generation of Tri-City sports fans. The name of the program is Tri-City Sports Now, and we own the Tri-Cities with the hardest-hitting opinions, oftentimes the best guests in the market. Now, today we're going to be basically catching up to date on some stories, I guess, that I've talked about a little bit, or have gotten maybe not the attention that I wanted to. Going to try to do a media watch later on. Of course, baseball, I guess, the theme of the day. How come they don't do a NASCAR race today? You know, they used to. Used to be a 4th of July NASCAR race. What would be more American than a stock car race? Of course, it's not going to be in Daytona. The first weekend of July race, which I've often said, I think 19 years ago, by George W. Bush showing up on it there and saying, gentlemen, start your engines. He won Florida by less than 600 votes, and I think 100,000 people there, that there had to be 600 Floridians in the track, let alone watching on TV, who saw that and said, he's one of us! The NASCAR dad, so to speak, and they went to the poll that maybe they otherwise would not have. You get 600 of those out of just 100,000 in the stands, but let alone how many other people are just watching. And yeah, I think that might have actually decided who the leader of the free world is. So NASCAR, yeah. Now you see why they say that it used to be NASCAR dads. It's a very important demographic and such. But they'll be running the race. Tomorrow I'll talk to Jerry Bonkowski. We do have the best guests in the market. We'll talk to Jerry Bonkowski about the race in Daytona. And it'll move to in the 4th of July because they're putting the night race in Daytona in the playoffs along with Bristol. And what they're going to do then is they will be putting Indianapolis on the 4th of July. Or July 4th weekend. But why don't they run the race today? It's a weekday, Marky. Hey, you're working. Not everybody is like the postman in the bank that has the day off. Plus, traveling on a Thursday if you have to go to work on a Friday. Well, I get it. But still, just, like I said, used to. Well, that was before Bristol had 150,000 seats. Well, there you go. The other thing that I was thinking about, though, in terms of a 4th of July race, Dover is really getting the shaft, but that's the Philly race, if you will. How about Independence Day there, Think about that. All right. I think America is being dumbed down. I thought this when I saw basketball being pushed ahead of baseball in the 90s, but that's neither here nor there. Actually, that is here nor there. Okay, I just made my statement there. But America is being dumbed down. We don't have a NASCAR race on the 4th of July. Like I said, we got to wait until July 6th for the race. And, I understand there's always that, aspect of NASCAR fandom where they say, well, what's a NASCAR race? You watch the guys go around in circles 500 times. That's not interesting. There's a bit of pit strategy and such out there. There's more to it, obviously. Baseball, of course, I think it's well known how much strategy there is in baseball. And you know what? Independence Day and baseball, yeah, they go together. But we're having the dumbing down of America because, and I don't know who won, and I don't care, and I didn't even know who any of the participants were until just to, write my monologue today. I had to find something out. But, oh Lord in heaven above, help us. 4th of July, the sporting event now that some people may identify with the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. I do not understand the appeal of the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. I'm still the guy who, I'm like what Howard Cosell once said about the NBA. And the NBA, 2 teams running back and forth 200 times in an evening, scoring at will. It makes no sense. Hot dog eating contest. I can't imagine that anyone would want to sit down and watch a hot dog eating contest. I mean, what do it's one thing, you remember, you go to the arcade, you run out of money, and sometimes you watch somebody else, play the video games or pinball until your parents picked you up or something, right? I understand that. The appeal of a hot dog eating contest as a spectator sport. You do not go to a restaurant and watch people eat. So if there is some sort of an appeal to a hot dog eating contest, it's got to be to sell the talentless to the tasteless. And by the way, if you haven't liked Marky Billson on Medium yet, do so now. Because you're going to see some of the more disgusting photos that you ever have seen in your life, because I put this monologue up on Medium, and you'll be disturbed. By the way, I know it's a hot dog eating contest. I know I said tasteless. There was no pun intended. Got Marky Billson here, not Gene Shalit, okay? There you go. Nathan's is, in fact, a restaurant. So I realized that somebody must be ordering hot dogs there. But when really was the last time you went to a restaurant and ordered a hot dog? My guess is if you did, it wasn't at the Four Seasons. Nobody orders a hot dog at a restaurant. One orders a hot dog at a ballpark. You want to go out to eat, you go to the Asian House. You don't go out to the hot dog haven, that sort of thing. And when you go to the ballpark, what do? You watch the game. Presumably as you're eating your hot dog. But this is what you do not do. You do not turn and look at the fan beside you and for 2.5 to 3 to 3.5 hours, depending on the pace of the baseball game, or almost 5 if you're playing in England, you do not then count how many hot dogs that person sitting beside you eats. I don't care if you're the Count from Sesame Street. You're counting runs and hits and errors in that case. You're not counting hot dogs eaten by the person beside you. And by the way, if you were staring and focusing on how many hot dogs the person beside you was eating, he'd probably be so freaked out that he'd call the usher over. Why is this man staring at me? Oh, I'm counting how many hot dogs he's going to eat this evening. You'd be ejected from the premises. Why were you habitually staring at the gentleman beside you, sir? I was counting how many hot dogs he was going to eat. No, that gets you, they're going rubber room time. How, as a sportscaster, I even wondered, no, I didn't watch it this morning, I had no interest. How do you announce a hot dog eating contest. If I were ever to call the play-by-play, hello, I'm Marky Billson here at the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. And boy, here's stomach soup for it. Well, let me just ask my broadcast partner over here, what do you expect old stomach to do in this situation? Well, Marky, I'd say he's going to eat as many of those hot dogs presented to him as he can. Okay, I'm stealing a joke from a comedian, reworking it a little bit, but, it was about bowling, But, I'm sure there's some strategy to it, but I can't imagine what it is. And it's a safe bet nobody goes to Coney Island to watch this thing and say, oh, I wonder how much eating the guys that did before to keep their stomach big and vacant. But that's not why people go to a hot dog eating contest. You know why people go to a hot dog eating? It's got to be this. I know that, you go to the NASCAR race to see the crashes. You go to a hot dog eating contest to see people puke. Disgusting. And only a Neanderthal would be interested in that. So way to cater to the lowest common denominator, ESPN, who annually televises the event. This year it was 9 a.m., ESPN2. It's gone past, I don't care. But ESPN even went one further to try to get a rating on this. On Tuesday, they presented some sort of 30 for 30 documentary on a hot dog eating contest champ. I thought it was bad when they were profiling poker players on SportsCenter. I thought it was bad when, Ed O'Neill is taking martial arts and he's got a TV series on ABC. So we'll do a profile of Ed O'Neill on SportsCenter. I thought that was self-serving. A 30 for 30 on a Nathan's hot dog eating participant. That would be worthy of Sports Illustrated's This Week's Sign of the Apocalypse, if only they still did that. So instead, it's just a sign of the apocalypse of ESPN. Think about this. People want to date athletes. Athletes are young. Athletes are attractive. Athletes are fit. And usually they're intelligent. They played on their school team, right? They had to, read some sort of books at one point. You get a college scholarship, you got to go to some classes here. So usually some of that rubs off. Actually, most athletes, I know in football, the graduation rate is higher than that of the general student body. It's not the way it is in basketball, but in football it is, and several other sports as well. But anyway, like I said, you generally want to date. You think about, I'm dating the jock. I think we all sort of envy Julio Iglesias Jr. for, being although he hasn't wedded her yet, but, being with Anna Kournikova and making babies with her and all that. Yeah, that's, about as perfect a woman, about as attractive as a woman can get is Anna Kournikova. Now, let's go to the other side of sports, a hot dog eating contestant participant. Can you imagine dating a hot dog eating contest champion? That just sounds revolting. Can you imagine? Oh, yeah, hey, Larry, she's got a great personality, and she's a dog. Well, she is a hot dog eating champion. Goodbye. Can you imagine it? You could not escape the fat gluttonous stereotype of a hot dog eater. How could one be a hot dog eating champ and not be fat and gluttonous? How does the increased attention given to the Nathan's hot dog eating contest relate to an American culture that's supposedly becoming more health conscious? Well, it doesn't. And neither does celebrating plus-size bikini models, which seems to be a thing these days, by the way, but I digress. Look, imagine if someone told you their favorite sport was watching hot dog eating. You would want to get away from them as quickly as possible, thinking they were a total ignoramus, a total hick, and this is the dumbing down of America. It is celebrating the worst of our culture. I say I want no part of it. I do want the part of telling you how the Braves did last night. We'll talk about that and more on Tri-City Sports Now coming up next.
1420 W.